next weekend. Pro football is back on Fox as the UFL kicks off on Saturday with the USFL champion Birmingham Stallions taking on the XFL champion Arlington Renegades. And kickoff weekend continues next Sunday on ESPN. Feels a little bit like football weather out here today.
Look at that.
Grebe.
Those actually are grebes.
Yeah, actually cormorant variety of grebes.
All right.
Yeah, the cormorant grebes are very common around here, and obviously they like the surroundings. That island in particular on Grand Lake of the Cherokees. It's the final day of the World Championship of Fishing, the Bass Pro Shop's Bassmaster Classic, presented by Jockey Outdoors. And what a story we have at the top of that leaderboard. Justin Hamner dominated first 2 days, was in charge after the weigh-in there with the, a lead approaching 6 pounds to start this day over the rest of the field. But Adam Rasmussen of Wisconsin has had a dynamic start to his day. His first 4 hours of fishing have been pretty spectacular.
Definitely has, and we wouldn't expect anything less coming here to Grand Lake for a Bassmaster Classic. To see Justin Hamner lead day 1, day 2, day 3, that's about to be taken away from him. Adam is only 9 ounces behind him, according to Such, unofficially, and that is too close to call for anyone right now. He's off to a lot better start than he has been any day this week. Basically, he has had nothing that he weighed in on day 1 and day 2. Today, he's doing a lot better.
Yeah, and we talked about it. There's just a lot of weird things that happen on the final days of Bassmaster Classics, and we're starting to see that exact same thing transpire right now. Justin Hamner in the driver. So we opened the show a flawless tournament so far. Just to average 4 pounds on Grand Lake the first 2 days of this tournament. Now we're starting to see him bounce around a little bit, and things are going to tighten up here in the last few hours, because I can tell you right now he is absolutely going to have to catch more weight, because the best time of day is coming for that angler from Wisconsin.
Oh, we are hurtling toward a dynamic last 4 hours of fishing here on Grand Lake of the Cherokees. Let's get you caught up on what has gone on, in particular this rivalry at the top of our leaderboard with our Yamaha Midday Report.
Well, Adam Rasmussen said no, he welcomes the wind that was coming to Grand Lake of the Cherokees, but had to right the ship in the morning. Day 1 and day 2, very, very slow for Adam Rasmussen. All of his damage late in the day. Started a little bit deeper today. 8 to 15 feet of water, isolated brush, slow rolling a half-ounce spinnerbait and a half-ounce football jig. Well, he said, I don't need to do anything stupid. He has done everything to perfection so far today.
He certainly has, and he's just kind of been figuring it out. He said, I do best when I just go fishing, and that's what he did this morning, like you mentioned. Started out a little deeper, and he started out with the jig. He's done most of his work with a spinnerbait, but that's been in the afternoon. I think he maybe tried to do the spinnerbait pattern in the mornings the first 2 days. Today he started with the jig, started a little bit deeper, and it certainly has worked for him. I think this is his last fish. A fourth or fifth fish was on the half-ounce spinnerbait, but certainly got some key fish in the boat this morning that he has not had the last 2 days.
Justin Hamner from Alabama. Great first 2 days, absolutely flawless, so consistent. That 4-pound average was just almost unthinkable with these conditions.
Hey, now the other thing that we have to also put into perspective is it's been a little bit slower for Justin Hamner today, but we got to see that yesterday as well. Just like Rasmussen, his big fish came yesterday from really call it noon until about 2:30. Has that solid fish in his live well, but definitely a little bit slower on the quality. Justin Hamner still, though, in the driver's seat.
He is, but it concerns me just a little bit. He is in his comfort zone with that bait right there, the jerk bait, but we've seen him this morning throwing a square bill crankbait, throwing a jig, and normally I would say that's good. He's mixing it up. But the final day of the Bassmaster Classic, he's been the leader. A lot of pressure on him. He needs to stay in his comfort zone. He's done so well with that bait in his hand, especially over the last 12 months. I hope he keeps that jerk bait in his hand more often this afternoon than he has this morning.
Yamaha Midday Report right there, and that's the story. And if you really look at Justin Hamner, there are 5 bass in his live well, size-wise, that he would never have brought to the scales this week. I think we got a Skeeter Boat's Big Fish Alert. Well,
yeah,
it's pretty much gone down around Horse Creek out there. And you could put that logo right there, that Big Fish Alert, there all week long. That is where the damage has come. 4+ pounders just today all around Horse Creek.
It's really amazing. If you look, the fish was kind of covered. The fish tail was covering up the tail of Horse Creek right there. There's 4 that have come from behind the bridge. We saw Brandon Card and a few of those other anglers catching them back in there. But what a great area. We call that Horse Creek. A lot of those fish being caught out in the bay area of Horse Creek.
Consider this, Davey. Brian Smith has our Mercury Big Bass of today, a 514. He was 24th. He's in 7th place now with 4 fish. He needs about 25 to be in the lead.
Spent a lot of time in here. They were in here. But all that bait was in here. The wind was blowing into this pocket, blew all that bait in here. Today, so far, we ain't really got into it good yet, but my jerkbait messed up. But I haven't seen all that bait, which is unusually a good thing. Usually you want to find the bait, but I think there was just so much of it, and I couldn't catch them. It's like I couldn't compete. The fake thing did not persuade them as much as the real.
Dive into what Justin Hamner's saying there a little bit. Typically, you want to be around a lot of bait. That means you're going to be around a lot of largemouth bass, smallmouth bass. But what he's saying there, when there's so much bait, it was a good shot of where Taku Ito was fishing this morning. There was so much bait that those fish just get dialed in on those threadfin shad, and you can try to duplicate that with a jerk bait, and they're just not going to be fooled by something that doesn't look exactly like that live shad. So the key here, and it's unusual, is to find bait, but you don't want too much bait. If you complete that, typically that's not the case, but that's exactly what's going on here. Justin Hamner, Taku Ito, a lot of the guys have figured that out. You want bait, but not an abundance of bait.
Almost like too much bait acts as a distraction.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The threadfin shad, we've learned through the years, are probably the favorite snack food of fish in this region of the United States.
You get the taste of them, Tommy. You said it so many times.
You won't go back. It is luscious.
Was it Robert G. and one of the elites this year called them potato chips for bass?
Yes, that's right.
Threadfin shad or like potato chips.
Yeah, Cheetos, whatever you want to call them.
Funyuns. Brian Smith just finished his limit. 5 fish for 15 pounds, 7 ounces from 24th. He's now in 6th place.
Kind of get a look at the rotation of Justin Hamner. Starting to get, if you really look at the bank, the slope of the banks, very, very deep cut banks, main lake pockets for Justin Hamner now, where he started in areas like that yesterday, and it's almost like a reverse the way he's approaching it today compared to the flatness. Adam Rasmussen is fishing very, very slow tapering, shallower water.
So there's a lot going on in his mind. When we talked to him after day 1 and day 2, had great days, over 20 pounds both days, he was so confident in what he's doing. Number one, because that bait has been so good to him for the last 12 months, probably his whole life, basically. But he had a lot of areas that he had not fished yet that he was saying, hey, I haven't even gone there yet. I've marked some fish, found some fish there in practice. So that's a positive thing. But then now, is he going to go to those places he hasn't been to since maybe Wednesday, or is he going to go back to the places that have really produced for him so well the last 2 days? Because going to those places that you thought you were saving might take you down a rabbit hole that you shouldn't go on the final day of the Bassmaster Classic, going to places that you think you are saving, but you haven't been there in a week.
And you can't put into perspective right there how much submerged gold mines brush piles that he is around, and it seems like they have definitely reloaded yet again here today.
So Adam Rasmussen with a small flotilla. It will be growing through the course of the day. The weather gets better. We get closer to the end of this very, very important day of fishing, Championship Sunday. The Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Classic. Presented by Jockey Doors. One angler is going to stand on top of it all at the end of the day. And we are not going to be done with our coverage here. It's been great being with you this morning with our live coverage of the Classic. And Classic coverage is going to continue for you. In fact, 3 more hours of it, getting you close to check-in time. Not all the way there. We'll save a little mystery for the weigh-in. Big, big spectacle at the end of the day, which is the long-standing traditions in the bass fishing world. We have 25 anglers, and we got a race. We got a game at the top of this one.
Things are definitely tightening up. I'm sure Justin Hamner and his family didn't want to see this happen, but they are getting a lot tighter than they started out this morning. Less than a pound difference between first and second place.
We'll be right back on the Fox Network live with Day 3 coverage. 3 more hours of it coming your way. Can't wait to get that started as things get very, very tight here. We never like a runaway. We have to confess that. We don't like to have to manufacture drama.
Kind of thought we were going to have that. That is absolutely not the case. This one could end up going down to the wire this afternoon.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Man. What will happen? Justin Hamner, Adam Rasmussen right at the top there. Kyle Patrick from the Opens, just like Rasmussen, making a big move today. So we are expecting to see some fireworks. Fireworks on the way. Mark it down, switch over to the Fox Network, and we will have 3 more hours for the Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Classic.